Hi, this is Tina with another unedited video with me talking about dog training. I feel like I have made it to the Catalina wine mixer, and if you know, you know. I have not been able to edit my videos or learn to edit my videos, although I'm very grateful for all the people that like to post that information about editing. There's so much good information out there. And I'll be honest with you, I took the time. I should have been learning to edit my videos because, hey, I woke up and my dog's feet smelled like Fritos and they had to be washed. And I've got 5 dogs, so that's 20 feet. That being said, I don't really spend a lot of time on the computer trying to learn that kind of stuff, and I should, and I will eventually. So anyway, I wanted to talk to you today about some of the calls I get about, and the people that talk to me about their dog not coming back. And I'm going to give you first what I call the smarty pants answer, and it is, hey, have you tried one of these? It's a dog leash. So it has a handle on one end and it has a bolt snap on the other. You attach one end to the dog and the other end to your hand. And I know that is the answer that we start with first. And it's not very helpful to people sometimes because it often needs to be broke down for people. Sometimes people don't understand that the dog has a learning phase it needs to go through before it comes off leash, and a lot of times they don't understand that the dog, it may take months before the dog is able to come back for them off leash. And so sometimes it's not being educated totally on how a dog's mind works. Sometimes it's not training the dog in front of you, which I'm a big advocate of training the dog in front of you and not lumping them into huge piles. And sometimes it's just impatience. So I'm going to break that down a little bit for you. Obviously, if we first get a puppy, and I'm going to use puppies right now, we get them around 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes a little bit later. But at that age, a puppy naturally comes to you. It is not gained its independent phase yet. So it is always following us around and having a good time, coming when we call, and it's learning how to come, and it's just a joy. Then all of a sudden the puppy gets to a certain age and it becomes more independent, and it discovers things outside, and it discovers squirrels and toys and friends and other people, and it begins to go, oh well, I'll go do this first and then come back. And we let that rock on. We don't realize we're setting up a pattern of habits for the dog, but we're setting up a pattern for the dog, and we're setting a stage for what might be a problem later on. We're not asking for that recall to be immediate, okay? I have to find the word I was looking for there. And we often get really comfortable when that puppy or that dog, when we first get it. Sometimes rescue dogs are like that, or if we get older dogs, they're coming right away. And then all of a sudden they're not coming. And we have accidentally set up this stage where the dog is not, yeah, I'll come when it's my time to come and when I feel like coming, and I don't really have to come right away. And honestly, is that the dog's fault? No. Because we've set up that expectation for the dog. Sorry, my father-in-law is going to run me over with the corn truck. But we don't realize it. We start thinking the dog is being defiant or the dog is being stubborn, and we assign all of these things that the dog is doing in our head without kind of breaking down what has happened and what the training process has been. We cannot train what we cannot control. So if we want to make that recall better, we have to train that on leash. Now, I start off with a 6-foot leash. I will sometimes have an 8 to 10 drag foot line. I will go as long as a 20-foot leash, and sometimes longer depending on the dog. But I kind of set up a situation, and I won't be able to explain it here. I'll have to show you where if I ask for the recall, I'm getting the recall. That's not to say that when the dog is off leash, it may be momentarily distracted. I kind of am okay. I will say that I'm okay if my dog is momentarily distracted in a fun area, and then he just quick sniff and then move on and coming on to me. But the dog is making progress to me. If the dog is going the other way or absolutely ignoring me, then there's a problem. Sometimes we have used the word come so much that it becomes white noise in the dog's mind, and the dog doesn't understand what come means. My dogs are trained to come to me on, I think, about 3 commands. They come, they move. Their name means movement. If I say their name, they're usually moving in some form. That's either toward me or we're moving off something. But so I use their name, I use the word come, I use the word here, and we also use the word front when we're showing. So those are the words that my dogs know. They know that no matter what happens, if I am screaming at the top of my lungs one of those words and they come to me, they are not going to be punished. I get my dogs used to that because I'm a panic screamer, and I used to be a panic screamer, and when I would get scared, I would start screaming louder and louder. So my dogs know that there's a fair element in there with me. I set my dogs up for that when they're very young. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. That's just the way I do it. It's one trainer's opinion. You know, the only thing 2 dog trainers agree on is that the 3rd dog trainer is wrong. Just so you know, there's a billion ways to train a dog. So that's the way I train because of my personality, because that's what's happened to me in the past. My dogs know if they take a step toward me and they're coming to me, they are not punished. So if you are punishing your dog for coming to you, your dog is getting punished for the come. It's not getting punished for what it was doing when it wasn't coming for you. So that's another thing that can happen with your recalls, is that the dog is getting punished or the dog is getting in trouble. Why would I come back for that? So there is a element of fairness when my dog comes, because dogs are rewarded or corrected for the last act that happened. So if my dog is headed for me, I am happy as I can be. You need to be very animated when you're calling your dog. So we can mess up the word come. We can set up situations where it means nothing to the dog. We have just yelled come 1,000 times and the dog is off sniffing rabbit poop, okay? And it doesn't, it's like, okay, I don't know why you keep screaming that, but I'll be there when I feel like it. But they just know that as our voice gets louder and louder, they kind of pick up that they're heading our way. And really, they're setting up the situation to come when they feel like it. We also try to bring them off leash a little bit too early when they're not quite kind of ready. We need to make sure that they're coming through distractions while they're on leash, that they're coming through anything in the outside elements that may frighten them or take their attention away from what we're doing. And we often try to go from being on a 6-foot leash at a come to trying to get them come from 100 yards. So we're moving along too fast. We're not breaking it down there in the steps that they need. So what I will challenge you to do, if you're having problems with that, kind of take a look at how you're setting your dog up with the recall. Are you setting your dog up for success? What are the distractions? Have I taken my dog off leash too early? Because I will tell you, the solution is to put them back on leash and retrain it. You may have to end up using a different word because the dog has heard that word so much. But ultimately, we're going to have to take a look at what we're doing with our dogs and how to address a better training situation for them. I do encourage you to call a dog trainer if you're at all confused or if you're curious about what you're doing is right. It's always good to work with a professional who has studied dog behavior and even people behavior, so they know how to train you and your dog. Because, yeah, I love to say that I love dogs. I'd rather work with dogs than people. But honestly, if I want to make that dog's life better, I have to be able to work with the people. So it is my goal to get you to communicate well with your dog, to help you build a better relationship with your dog so that you can have a more relaxed time, that you don't have to worry, that you're not stressed out, that your dog is having the best life it can possibly have, and that it is fitting be in your family situation. That being said, there's a lot of people that get really frustrated when their dogs don't come, and they don't understand it, and they don't want to take the time. It can sometimes take a long time to build up that one command consistently, and where you have this beautiful recall. The dog comes in any situation at any time, and that doesn't come overnight. It's easy to watch that on the YouTube and the TikTok and all these. There's reading about it, and it looks so simple in the books, but it can be very methodical. It can be very tedious, and I like to tell people dog training can be very boring. So sometimes the excitement doesn't happen right away. If you're a dog trainer though, and you get these little increments happening, and you can see this progressing over time, it's very exciting for us crazy people. But for a typical owner who wants this right away, they tend to put their timeline on the dog's learning. And the dog needs to learn in its timeline. And sometimes that's the breed of dog, the age of dog, the experience of the handler, how the handler is progressing. Because dogs are very resilient. We mess up a lot training dogs, and it's easy to go back and redo that. But sometimes that takes longer because of our part, because we don't have the experience, and we can't see the behavior changes quickly, and we try to move off leash too quickly, and move that dog along faster, and we want to show all our friends have our dogs do parlor tricks when our friends come, which is, by the way, the time your dog is gonna be least likely to do the parlor trick unless you have prepared for that. But there's a lot involved, and I do encourage you to keep working with your dog, to learn as much as you can, and to get in touch with a trainer that is willing to work with you and the dog, or if they do work with the dog alone, that they can work with you once they have trained the dog. They are willing to educate you, because you are important as a handler and an owner in that dog's life. Because after it leaves the trainer, and after the trainer leaves you, it's you and the dog. It's you and the dog building that relationship forward. So it's really important that you understand what's going on. And I encourage you, when you are working with a trainer, ask questions. And if you have a trainer that is not willing to work with you or is condescending, find a trainer that you can work with, and make sure you tell them what your goals are, because some people are wanting to show dogs or compete in sports, and some people just want a good mannered dog at home. So know what your end game is too before you contact them. All right, I'm out. Thank you.